Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MiloTree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie. I am a blogger and serial entrepreneur, starting with Catch My Party in 2009. If you need party ideas, head over there. And then my husband and I built our MiloTree pop-up app that so many of you in this audience use to grow your social media followers and email subscribers. And remember, super optimized, won't slow down your site, plays well with Google and your ad network. And recently, we launched MiloTree Cart, which is a way to get paid for digital products like digital downloads and workshops and memberships and coaching, anything that you can sell digitally. I wanted to share a conversation I had today with a food blogger who wants to create her first ebook with recipes. And she asked me whether she needed to go make new recipes for this ebook. And I said, absolutely not. Take your best recipes that are already published on your blog that you are offering for free and bundle them up, because somebody will pay for the fact that you serve up a solution that's easy. If you have questions about how to get started, please get on a call with me, free call. We'll talk about your idea. I'll give you feedback. I'll share how MiloTree Cart fits into this, but no hard sell. If this is interesting to you, go to milotree.com/meet. For today's episode, I have Emylee Williams on the podcast, and she is the co-founder of Boss Project. So what she and her partner do is they offer support and coaching to service-based businesses. So if you've ever thought about a service you could provide, like copywriting or marketing or photography, but you don't know how to get started or how to grow your client base, this is the podcast for you. And again, all of the skills that we talk about are relevant for all kinds of businesses, including blogging. So without further delay, here is my interview with Emylee Williams. Emylee, welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You and your partner do something interesting, coaching service businesses. So could you explain kind of what that is, what that looks like, and what you guys offer?
Yeah, so I am the CEO, founder, and CMO over at Boss Project. So we are a digital agency for service-based business owners, and we show up in a variety of ways for our clients. We have a plethora of free content for our DIY folks who are just getting started, who are really scaling up to their first six figures in service, one-on-one services. So we have—
Wait, cool. Can I stop you there for 1 second?
Yeah.
Give me some examples of these service businesses, just so people have a mental model.
Yeah, so we work with everyone from photographers to wedding planners to copywriters and designers to bookkeepers and accountants we have a client who used to work at FEMA, and she does emergency preparedness plans for corporations. We have another client who does cookie baking contests for team building activities for companies like Google and Amazon. So it really runs the gamut of who we work with, from mostly female and women-led entrepreneurs in the creative service-based business realm. So they either have some sort of like creative eye and creative energy where they care about how their things look and feel and come across, but they are an absolute expert in the way that they show up for their clients. And we really help figure out, well, what are the missing pieces in order for you to get to the next level? So we have our DIY resources like our blog and our podcast over at the Strategy Hour. We have Do It With Us resources like our incubator program or our mastermind program, where it's a little bit mix of curriculum, but also coaching and one-on-one critiques and feedbacks at various touch points in your business. And we also have C-suite on-demand services where we come into your business and act as fractional CFOs, fractional CMOs, project managers, and really help you kind of organize the structure of your company, your business, in order to scale. And we also have done for you services like website design and development with strategic layout, specifically for service-based business owners who are wanting to increase the conversions of their prospect journey on their website. So the traffic of people who are landing there, getting more of them to convert to book a discovery call with you or fill out your lead capture form. So
wow,
quite a bit of varieties of ways to work with us.
It sounds like you are very busy doing what you're doing.
We have an incredible team, lots of people who can support you on the back end. And we like to have various touch points in our clients' lives and businesses, because it's never just one thing that's going to make a big difference. It's a little bit of tiny levers that you can pull across the board.
So let's say I wanted to be a copywriter,
Mm-hmm.
and I decide I'm going to kind of go off and now, and I'm good. Like, let's say I'm good, but I don't have any clients. I don't walk me through, because I have a feeling a lot of people in my audience are going, hey, I have this skill and this talent, but I wouldn't know how to start it.
Yeah.
So walk me through that journey.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I highly recommend you go browse our blog archives and our podcast archives. We have an incredible search tool where you can just enter in any keyword: lead gen, more clients, client experience, pricing, onboarding, whatever question that you have. And there's going to be articles and episodes that populate for you to dive into. That's the first place that I would check. We have probably over 1,000 blog posts at this point and over 700 podcast episodes up on our show that's ranked consistently in the top 50 in business worldwide. So we have a lot of incredible content for you to dive into. Ultimately, if you have your skill and you're really good at it, you've got to start working with some clients so you can actually start to figure out, what does your process look like? What are the tangible solutions that you solve? What are the problems that you solve for your clients? Who do you want to work with? What really makes sense for you to actually offer in your scope within your deliverables? And you won't know that until you actually start doing it. So if you're literally, truly just getting started, there's going to be a little bit of a messy middle. I think a lot of people try to figure out that they can launch with the perfect website, the perfect offer, the perfect package that's priced perfectly, has amazing scope and deliverables. It's going to take the exact perfect amount of time every time, and it's going to be a rinse and repeat formula. And that is just absolutely not possible within your first probably 5 to 10 clients. If you've been repeatedly serving the exact same type of client in the exact same type of offer, you can then start to create processes and automations and SOPs behind the scenes that can help speed up that process, help you get to your solution faster with your clients, but you actually have to start doing it messy first. So in order to actually get there, we've got to figure out where are the people that I can actually start serving. And before you even literally worry about a mailing list or a social media presence or content on your website, you've got to start having conversations with the people that you actually already know first. We work our clients through a process in our 1 week to clients program. So if you are looking to untap clients and really utilize your network of what we call connectors and getting referrals from connectors of ideal clients, reach out to us on DMs and we can talk to you more about that program. But ultimately what it is identifying within your inner circle, who are the people that you know that are like the chatty Cathys, the outgoing, the extroverted, the talkative people, the people who are most involved in organizations in your community, in your industry. They don't necessarily have to be local, but they're well-connected people. What we like to do is try to get coffee dates with 3 to 5 well-connected people when we're introducing a new service. And we talk to that person like we're trying to build a relationship, a connection, a friendship, just having an actual human-to-human conversation. What are you up to? What have you got going on? How can I support you? I'm launching this new service. Here's what I know that I can do really well for these kind of people. Do you know anyone who you can introduce me to, refer me to, get me their contact information so I can start the conversation with people who might want to work with me? The people who know you, who are kind of close to you, really want you to succeed. And they would love to be the reason why you succeed. So they're going to introduce you to the right people. They're going to open some doors for you. Quite literally, Abigail's business, my business, before we even knew each other, got off the ground from one referral. It was my best friend's mom and it was her mother-in-law who were our connectors for us. They introduced us to our very next ideal dreamy client who paid the price point we were after, who were thrilled beyond belief about the service that we delivered, and who recommended us to all of their friends, families, and their connections. And that snowballed into a booked out roster that enabled us to really perfect our process and take away what we didn't want to deliver with clients and really hone in on what we could really see that was making a difference. And within, our first, I would say probably 6 to 8 months of doing that individually, we were able to really say, this is what I offer for this type of person, and this is what it needs to charge in order for me to deliver my result. And if you can just get there, that's like your first phase of we're in business and now we have something that we can grow off of.
how do I think about my offer? So my audience is predominantly women, like you are serving female entrepreneurs and business owners. And
Yeah.
the struggle that I see over and over again is, how do I know my value and how do I put it out there and not undercharge?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not be so pleasing that I now am a slave to my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of this has to do with self-reflection, confidence, whether it's real or not, an understanding of your capacity and your utilization. So I kind of like to look at this from two lenses: the facts and the feeling side. The facts are non-negotiable, absolute black and white facts. How much time do you have in your week? Literally, how much time do you have in your week? Do you still have a full-time job and you're trying to get this off the ground? Do you have a part-time job? Do you have kids or some caretaker that you need to be mindful of within your life so you don't have a full 40 hours? Do you have some sort of, a health issue that enables you to maybe sometimes surprise be in bed all day because you've got stuff to deal with on your own personal level? How much time are we working with? In the service that we're going to offer, how much time is required in order to fully deliver that thing? A full top to bottom e-commerce website with someone who has 1,000 products is going to take a lot different time scope than copywriting for blog post for an industry that you know really well, right? That doesn't require a lot of research. So you got to understand truly how much time that you are working with, and then marry that with how much time is actually required for you to deliver the result that you want to deliver. Once you kind of come at those facts, then you can kind of just play the puzzle of, what does my offer actually look like? What does the scope and deliverables need to be in order to solve this solution? So say you're a copywriter and you want to focus on copywriting for sales pages that help your clients convert more of their offer to their ideal client. They're selling more of the thing that they're selling on that sales page. So you might be looking at, okay, I have 20 hours a week. Well, within that 20 hours a week to work on your business, you don't have all 20 hours to work on client work. That is literally impossible because you have an actual business to run. As the founder, you have emails to send, you have your own bookkeeping to keep up with, you have maybe content to write, you have client work to actually do, maybe you have some networking meetings to go to. There's a lot of stuff that's going on within the container of those 20 hours. We like to tell our founders that they have honestly about 25%-ish of their week available to actually do client deliverables. So once you figure out, based on how much time you have in the week, 20 to 25% of that time you can be spending doing the actual client work. This isn't emailing, this isn't bookkeeping, this isn't follow-up, this isn't onboarding calls, this is doing the work to get that project done. So once you kind of do that math, you'll be able to understand, okay, well, in a week, then I can dedicate this much time to a client project. Well, if I'm working on copy for a sales page, how many of those realistically do I think I could do in a week, in a month? Well, then now backtracking, that's going to tell me how many clients I need to work with, or what price point I need to charge versus how many clients I need to work with in order to reach my monthly goal. And then outside backtracking out of that, okay, well, if I need to work with this many clients per month in order to reach my goal, how many conversations do I need to be having? How many discovery calls do I need to have? I know not 100% of those are going to land, but if I'm really good at that part of the job, I could be landing 75 or 80% of those discovery calls into closed client deals. Well, if that's my rate, how many conversations do I need to be having? How many events do I need to be getting myself involved in, or emails that I need to be sending out in order to get people interested in having a conversation with me? Everything comes from facts that then marries with, how do I actually want to run my business and at what capacity do I want to be giving? Because could we all ultimately work towards running a million or multi-million-dollar business on our own or with a lean team? Absolutely. But if that's not in alignment with the time that you actually have or the type of work that you want to be doing day in and day out, those goals are going to be out of alignment with how you can actually show up to achieve them.
I wanted to take a short break to say, if you are enjoying the show, please join my newsletter, because every Sunday I send you my 4 biggest takeaways from my most recent episode. They're like Cliff Notes. So please head to bloggergenius.com and sign up, and you will hear from me with the most cutting edge, online business tips every week. Again, it's bloggergenius.com. And now back to the show. Where are the shortcuts? Like, where do you see people find success? Like, one thing that you talked about is looking for the connectors. And if you can get a good connector, versus like the introverts, like you could talk to 10 introverts who don't know anybody and don't feel comfortable, or you could talk to that one connector who has like this unbelievable kind of email list, or they can DM anybody, or who knows what. And that is like gold. So so again, this idea, like as you're going through this process, I'm like, wow, this is also very exhausting, that I need to be putting myself out there all the time. And so where do you see people find a lot of traction?
Yeah. Honestly, the shortcut, so to speak, is, and this, like, I know you guys are going to roll your eyes at me because like, it's just kind of the fact of doing business, but then it's just repeating it and doing it over and over again. The shortcut is to, once you identify how much time you have to give, then that can help inform the price of the offer that you need to charge at based on your financial goals married with your capacity. Once you find the answers to those equations, which only you can bring to the table, only you know how much time you have to give, only you know your financial goals, only you know what's the price range that you want to charge. There's absolutely people who are like, oh, I could absolutely not charge $10,000 for this service. Okay, well, you're going to have to work with more people. Do you have the capacity to work with more people? Yes or no? Some people would rather work with hundreds of clients throughout the year because they want to have a lower price point and they don't want to go into that premium landscape. Some of us only want to work with 5 clients a year. Well, if that's the case, then we need to be having a premium package. So you've got to do some self-reflection on where are you comfortable? Where can you kind of push yourself a little bit? Once you have that information, the shortcut is to keep doing that over and over and over again. And truly, it's harder than it sounds. Do not let yourself get distracted by virility, by trendy marketing tactics, by things that you think are going to beef up your expertise or your appearance online, and laser focus on the things that are actually going to fill your pipeline with leads that are going to convert, that are going to help you reach your financial goals. And once you can do that consistently for a year and a half, 2 years, then we can start asking ourselves, okay, here's where I brought my business by myself, so to speak. Maybe it's you and one VA at the end of the day. But I know someone right now, a client of ours, who it's literally her, and she is a website designer and copywriter. She brought her business by herself to over $500,000. That's the biggest I've seen someone bring their service-based business by themselves. She's at capacity though. She's over capacity. And the only thing that's going to help her scale past that, and I mean scale past that in the sense of, she would be fine if she made $500,000 every year for the rest of her business life. That's a great amount of money. She's making a very healthy salary off of that. It feels good. It's a manageable size. But the only way for her to continue to replicate those results is for her to have support, because she's over capacity. She can't serve any more clients. She is out of time, like herself is out of time. So she's going to need to be training people within her organization to take some of that client delivery off of her plate. But we can't even get there and worry about that until we're at that point.
But then I go to, there's like a fork in the road, which is you've reached your limit. So either you are going to be hiring more people and doing this bespoke, kind of white glove service type business, or is there a way to pivot to something where you can teach people how to do this, or become like scale your business in that way?
Right.
And especially as somebody who wants to help people sell digital products and do things like having an expensive mastermind, or do you help how do you help clients decide which way to go?
Well, so our specialty is helping service-based business owners scale an agency. So it's doing more of the service for more people. It's not necessarily the teaching and opening up a a one-to-many model, although we have a hybrid business model. It's hybrid one-to-many, hybrid one-on-one. So I love me a one-to-many business model. There's no shame in that game. If that's the way that you want to show up in the world, I love that for you. The only caveat, and with that conversation, I honestly wish more service-based business owners were having with themselves before they went down that route, is truly understanding how different of a business model it is to their current business model. This is something I did not realize when we shifted to one-to-many. We were serving one-on-one 5 days a week. We were meeting clients for coffee. We were having incredible relationships. We were getting contracts and checks written out to us within the same pitch meeting because our clients were so excited to work with us and see the results. There was a lot of physical labor. We were styling and setting up shoots for businesses and brands. So it definitely demanded a different part of our brain and our body in order to deliver the things, which is a big part of the reason why we wanted to scale to one-to-many. We had a very, very strong desire to educate and to help other business owners achieve more ease in their service-based business. What we didn't realize, though, is that we were speaking to an entirely different audience, and we were building 2 different businesses at the same time. Our agency was serving our one-on-one clients who only ever needed one-on-one work, and we were growing other business owners who were excited to learn the things from us so that they could do those things for our clients. And so ultimately, we had to shift the amount of attention one business got over the other, dependent on which one we wanted to grow. And in that shift, we had to be okay with a little bit loss of income on the agency side in order to beef up the income from the one-to-many side. And I don't think enough people realize that they either need to better prepare for that shift, as in you need to have more savings, or just mentally you need to better prepare for that shift, because we were so used to closing, $20, $30, $40,000 client deals to now needing thousands of people to be aware of what we were selling so that we can make that same amount of money on a $1,000 course or a $5,000 course or a $27 course. And I don't think our brains fully wrap around. I say this as in me and Abigail's brains, but we've helped so many clients do this math where they're not ready to sign up for the type of marketing that's required for one-to-many and the type of showing up as a thought leader that's required for one-to-many. And ultimately, a lot of our clients realize, oh, that's actually not the kind of business I want to run. I thought I could just do more like behind the scenes stuff and have passive income. Everyone talks about passive income, but they don't realize how much work is setting up and maintaining that passive income. And so we have a little bit of if we pull these levers in your service-based business a little bit differently, you can still reach the income goals that you're after without starting a different business or different revenue stream.
Now, which way are you guys leaning now that you have both? Because as somebody who has multiple businesses, I know how difficult it is to be going, okay, right now I'm doing this, and then and they're very different. So which way are you guys leaning?
It's kind of interesting. So, 2020 was a weird year for a lot of us. It definitely, it was a good year for us business-wise. A lot of people were getting into, they were getting laid off or they were leaving their careers because of the pandemic, and they wanted to start a business or they wanted to take their business seriously. And we saw a lot of growth in 2020. We saw a lot of growth in 2021 because of that same kind of trickle-down effect. 2022 was a really hard year for us and for a lot of people. Sales were harder to come by. People were a lot more skeptical than they've ever been before. People were budgeting a lot tighter and expenses were tightening up in businesses and individuals. So we had to kind of shift our attention and our focus. There were less leads, so we had to make sure we were having the right conversations, putting the right offer in front of people depending on where they were at. So I would say in years prior to the one that we're heading into right now, 2023, easily our one-to-many model was making up 70% of our income, and everything else was, affiliates or advertisers for our podcast or just random kind of income, a little bit of services here and there. And that has absolutely flipped the complete opposite way, where our one-on-one services are now about 60 to 70% of our business, and the rest is one-to-many. But that ebbs and flows depending on how the market is behaving.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And kind of where the zeitgeist is. I do think everybody in 2020 into 2021, for example, that I saw was starting a food blog. and
Yes,
like,
yes.
and baking bread and like going, I could just take photos of this and make $1 million.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the reality of like, well, it's like, you're seeing it now with like streaming services. Like all we did was stay home and watch shows.
Yeah.
And as soon as we've kind of gone out into the world, like we're not watching as many shows, and like Netflix is struggling. So I completely understand that. Now, the one thing that I just want to touch on is the mindset piece. I deal with online entrepreneurs every day. And the place where I feel like we as women business owners get stuck is the belief in ourselves, especially if we're a one-person operation, getting up every morning and doing what it takes to make this happen. Like, and let's say the money's not coming in yet, or in dribs and drabs, or we're so grateful when a small check, we make $500. And so how do you speak to the people you are coaching? Because you're like, well, you're just going to meet with clients and have coffee, and they're going to sign these big checks, and you're going to just put yourself in front of people and tell share what you do. And they're going to be so excited. Like, yeah, I mean, I wish that for
in an ideal world.
Exactly. But in reality, we all face self-doubt. We all question our skills, even though I'm pitching myself in the example as a copywriter who's really good at copywriting. I think we all feel imposter syndrome.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this is like 9/10 of it. Because if you can master the mindset piece, then like the world is like, your oyster, but that piece can be very difficult. So how do you speak to that?
Well, so there's two angles that we like to look at it. And we had actually a good friend of mine on our show a couple of years ago at this point, and we had a whole episode where we broke this down. And ultimately, it kind of branched out into this conversation of doers versus beers. And you'll kind of identify yourself as one of these. What's funny is that you can be both. You can be one in one season of your life and you can transition into another. You can be one in an unhealthy version of your life and strive to be the other when you're fully like confident and capable and in a healthier version of your life. So the overall breakdown is doers are the people who start to believe that they can after they do the work, right? You serve the client. So you have a receipt, you have proof, you have a case study that you did the thing. And now you can be like, great, I can keep doing that thing. And as long as you do the thing, then you're going to believe that you can keep doing the thing. That's what I would love every person to have, that skill and that headspace, because that's the thing that's going to, like, if you just got receipts and the proof that you could do the thing, then you're good and you can keep doing the thing. That's not always the case. And a lot of us are beers more so than we maybe would like to be. And so beers are the people who have to believe that they can do the thing before they actually do the thing. And these are where a lot of business perfectionists come in. So if you find yourself redoing your website over and over again because it's not perfect, the brand colors aren't right, the photos aren't right. If you find yourself scrapping your social media strategy and trying TikTok or Instagram or a YouTube channel or a podcast because you just want to build up an audience before you actually start to sell, or you're redoing your opt-in or your freebie or your content or whatever it might be, you're getting hung up on this thing of like, when this thing is perfect, then I will feel confident in order to do the thing. That is the hardest space to be in. And I hate it for all of us because we've all been there.
Like that. Exactly.
Yes.
We have all been there. A recovering perfectionist. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. And so while I haven't entirely figured it out for myself, at least just in my own personal experience, I have to begin to identify what are the checkpoints, support, resources, reminders that I need in my life in order to keep me in doer mode. Because if I'm in a healthy doer mode, I'm going to get enough proof that I can do the thing that will help me keep doing the thing. What's really interesting is that I'm in a business partnership. Abigail and myself are 50-50 business partners, co-founders of this company that we have. And when we started out as partners, I knew that I would get an immense value from having someone else within my business with me, because I thrive off of external deadlines, external pressure, I don't want to let her down. So I will do what I know I need to do in order to move the business forward. So literally just by having a different cook in the kitchen, I'm able to stay on top of my task, to check in, not every day, because sometimes I don't feel great and I message her and I'm not into working, or I'm late on that deadline because something came up, and we're definitely flexible and we communicate with each other. But literally just having another presence, especially now that we're a team of 7, I have a team that I can't let down. I have a team that's looking to me. So I know that if I thrive off external, not just validation, but external awareness, then I'm going to put those measures in place. So for you, it might not look like getting a business partner. I actually highly recommend you not do that. Talk to me first. But it might look like sharing your next 30-day goal on Instagram or with your family and your friends, or posting it up where other people can see it and check in on your accountability, on your progress, on what you're doing. If external validation or support isn't going to work for you, you're going to have to do some soul searching on what is the thing that's going to actually help you move the needle. Is it some sort of habit tracker that you want to start building and like literally start to take, color in a little circle as you keep doing the actions. And once you are the person who then follows through on the actions, you can continue doing them. An example that a friend of mine gave in that podcast episode, because she was a beer. She was a small business owner who was starting as a beer. And I think a lot of us do, and it's hard to get out of that perfectionist realm. But the root underneath perfectionism is you may not trust yourself to be the person who does what you say you are going to do or what you want to do. Ultimately, like that's what a lot of perfectionist lies in. It might not be good enough, so therefore you're not going to do it. So in order to reflex that muscle, retrain that muscle, you simply need to become someone who says they do what they're going to do. They're going to do what they say they're going to do. So what my friend did was she wanted to be someone who flossed every day, had nothing to do with business, had nothing to do with clients. It didn't matter. It was a low hanging fruit task. So she said, I'm going to prove myself that I am someone who does what she says she's going to do. And I'm going to floss every day. And so every single day she flossed, and maybe she filled in a habit tracker. Maybe it was just enough to just do the action every day. But after a while, her brain started to realize you are someone who follows through on what you say you're going to do. So now let's add something else to that kind of task. What else do you want to do that you want to consistently do? Prove to yourself that you're someone who will follow through, even if it's making the bed, flossing your teeth, literally whatever it might be. We just have to retrick our brain or retrain our brain to be like, when you say you're going to do this, you're going to do it.
I come at it a little bit differently, which is I try to get on my own side. So that almost as if I'm like my best friend. So when I achieve something, even if it's small, I try to stop and celebrate that, because it's so easy to lose sight of how far you've come because the road ahead always looks so long. So it's just those moments where I try really hard to say, good job, Jill. Second thing I do is I lower the bar so that I can achieve that goal. Like I will say, all right, today I am going to do, write this blog post, and I'm going to do a really crappy job. I tell this to my daughter who's 15 all the time. She has to do a rough draft. And I go, if it's good, I'm going to be disappointed. So please make it bad. And by giving her that freedom, giving myself that freedom, I'm able to achieve my goal, because the truth is it'll be bad. I'll write that blog post and it'll be bad. Maybe it's not horrible, but I will achieve it. And then the next goal will be make it just a little bit better.
We have what we call an experimental mindset and a culture of curiosity built in to our team culture. And it's a lot like that, where we are such a collaborative environment within our team that I don't expect anything, not a single thing that my team submits as done or presents as an idea, or when they do their part of this project, for it to be perfect, because all of us have unique skills that we're bringing to the table in order to carry that project forward or to the end, to the finish line. And so what we call it is, especially as we're training new employees, we say just submit your MVP. So like, what's your MVP, your most viable product, your version of what you can put out right now. Maybe your version today, it's at 50%. But ultimately, through training and through exercise and through doing it again, your version eventually is going to be at like 80 or 90%. And our team is going to be able to put the finishing details on that thing, and it's going to be good to go. But every single one of our team members is released of the expectation of bringing anything to our table that's at 100%, because I don't want them to. So it's the same kind of concept. Give yourself that same permission.
I had a friend once, and she said, I can't handle a blank piece of paper because it's so filled with possibility. And as soon as I draw one line on it, somehow I've messed it up. Now, I think she's got bigger problems, but that is such I remember thinking that and going, that is so sad. What a sad way to see the world, rather than I'll write a line, I could cross it out, write a different one or whatever. So I think that we don't give ourselves enough grace.
Yeah.
Emylee, if there's somebody listening who's like, hey, I'm ready to start that thing on my own, but need some help, how can people reach out to you and learn what you guys do?
Absolutely. So the best place for y'all to go is bossproject.com. That's going to be able to send you off into all the directions. You can browse the blog. You can see the latest episodes on the podcast. You can reach out to us on our waitlist for services. You can browse what it's like to work with us. When you do reach out for services, it literally books a time with Abigail. So she'll just find out where you are right now in your business. What are some of your hesitations? Where are you wanting to be? And if there's something that we have that makes sense for you, whether it's a free or a paid product or service, we're going to point you in the right direction. You can also definitely slide into our DMs over on Instagram at Boss Project. I would love for you to come introduce yourself. Let me know that you came from this show so I know where you're coming from, and we can have a conversation. If you have a question about a specific topic or episode that we've covered, our team is really great at hunting down our own content and sending it over to you. So if you just let me know a topic that you want to dive into, I'm happy to pull those resources for you. We have a plethora of ways that you could work with us. We host free workshops throughout the year. So definitely be mindful of checking our Instagram to see if there's any sort of like free thing that's happening coming up soon. We would love to have you join one of those. And our podcast, again, is the Strategy Hour podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to shows. Start at our most recent episodes and work your way back because we've been doing the show for 7 years. So we're obviously better at it now than we were 7 years ago. So listen now.
Got it. Well, I just have to say, I feel like you've given like really good tactical things and also kind of emotional things. So I feel like there are these two sides to your business, and you kind of have to pick both.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you guys like this episode. My biggest takeaway from Emylee is that it is hard to put yourself out there and ask for the sale, no matter what kind of sale it is. And I think that's why we shy away from doing it. But I loved Emily's strategies, and I love this idea that you want to find the people who are the connectors and grow your business organically one by one at the beginning until you figured out your processes. And hopefully by then you realize you're not an imposter. Okay, before I go, I want to say, if you're ready to start selling ebooks and guides and workshops and coaching and memberships and all that good stuff, and you want a friend in your corner, get on a call with me. Just go to milotree.com/meet. It's free, no hard selling. It's really just to help you come up with a strategy to take action. So again, go to milotree.com/meet because I would love to meet you. And I will see you here again next week.